Unafraid Show. Ricer or wrong. It's your boy, George Ricer in the building. Thank you guys for joining me. All you people who stayed up late to watch Pac-12 After Dark, you know you are my crew. I'm here with you guys every Saturday night. Thank you guys for joining me. As usual, send in all your comments, questions. I will get to them. We're going to go over the top 10. We're going to go over the Pac-12 this weekend. And we are going to go over that ridiculous game that we just saw from Oregon and Arizona. Whoa, that was insane. First of all, first and foremost, so you guys, we're going over the top 10, the Pac-12 recap, and we're going over Arizona and Oregon. First of all, 11 of the top 25 teams took an L today. 11 out of the top 25 teams took a dive today, took a nosedive. You had Texas losing to Oklahoma State. Obviously, Georgia or Florida had to lose. You had Kentucky almost lose. Stanford lost. Washington missed. Texas A&M, Iowa, Wisconsin, South Florida, NC State. I mean, it was a bloodbath today in the top 25. So when it came to making the top 10 tonight, because I started working on it as the day goes on, it was a tough task. And remember, the top 10 is made up of, the Unafraid Show top 10 is not like your regular top 10. We do not care about your hype. We don't care about your talent. All we care about are 3 criteria. And they're re-ranked every single week. Number one is your schedule. Who have you played? How many quality wins do you have? And your dominance. Those are the 3 things that matter in the Unafraid Show top 10. So here is what we got for the top 10 this week. There is a huge switch up in the top 10. Alabama is no longer number 1. Clemson is the number 1 team in all the land right now. In the Unafraid Show land, Clemson is the top 10, is the top team. Not because Alabama's not good, not because Alabama's not great. It's because Clemson has actually played people. Clemson has played a quality schedule. Clemson has their defense, like they're absolutely destroying people, and they've played people. I'm not saying that Clemson would necessarily beat Alabama, but in terms of what have they earned at this point in time, Clemson is the number 1 team in all of college football. Number 2, Alabama, where they belong, their dominance. They haven't played anybody, but their dominance has been unprecedented. Number 3, Notre Dame. They bounced back from their bad game against Pitt a week ago. They came back and played well against Navy, put up a bunch of points. Good job. LSU, number 4, was off this week. Number 5 is a team that I am in love with this year. It is Oklahoma. Oklahoma has the best the best offense in all of college football. And the best thing that they could have done this year was get rid of Mike Stoops at defensive coordinator. So now they have a chance to win the college football playoffs because they're getting in. There's nobody that's going to be able to beat them as long as they play a modicum of defense. Number 6, Michigan. I don't love Michigan's offense, but their defense is stellar. You guys don't forget unafraidshow.com. The top 10 will be up by the time you go to sleep and you wake your pretty head up this morning. Hold right up on it. Make sure you guys share it. Georgia at number 7. Oh my God, Georgia finally got a quality win. So all you Georgia fans and people that think Georgia was a top 10 team, you can get off my back because they finally got a quality win. So now they're in the top 10. Number 7. Number 8, Central Florida. They're still plugging along, and everybody's still praying they lose because they're going to get, the committee's going to get hell if they leave them out, and they're undefeated for 2 years in a row. Washington State, number 9. They're 7-1. the Pac-12's last hope, and they are playing well. Ohio State is at number 10. Why are they at number 10? Nobody else wants to be at number 10, despite them not playing well the last 2 weeks against Minnesota, and then they just lost to Purdue. And then the next teams up are Penn State, Kentucky, and West Virginia. And I'm not in love with any of those teams. So now I want to get back to the Pac-12 review. The Pac-12 review this week. Actually, before we even get to that, I want to hit a couple things from college football this week, just in general. Texas, as good as they have been playing, Sam Ehlinger had been hurt, and their defense let them down today. Their defense let them down against Oklahoma State, who hadn't been playing great defense at all. So you gotta look at Texas with a side eye right now. Georgia and Florida. I'm not in love with either one of these teams right now, but I will tell you that Jake Fromm did look a lot better when he wasn't looking over his shoulder for Justin Field. So now to the Pac-12. Oh my gosh. I called some of these games, period. If you look on my Twitter every Saturday morning, I post my picks. And the picks I gave you guys today was Washington State over Stanford. Stanford was favored, I think, by 3 points. I said, we don't need no damn points in this game. Washington State is winning straight up. Because there is something about this air raid offense, and this season, it is special. I continue to say it. Gardner Minshew threw the ball 50 times, completed 40 passes. That's 80%. If a quarterback is completing 80% of his passes, you're not going to beat him. He's virtually unsackable. He threw for 438 yards and 3 touchdowns. Stanford can't run the ball well. Like, Stanford didn't have a shot at winning this game. The only chance they had was that Washington State started out slowly. And Stanford is down. They're 5-3. They're still a good football team, but the fact that they can't run the football is just absolutely killing them. And their defense is not elite either. Like, this is not David Shaw's intellectual brutality. I don't know what's happened to it, but something is going awry right now, just like some other teams right now. Another game I called today, Cal. I told you guys this was an upset that was brewing. Cal over Washington. And the reason why this upset was brewing, because you guys know I'm a big stats guy. Huge stats guy. And when you look at Washington's offense, Washington's pass offense came into the game ranked 6th in the conference, 253 yards a game. They hadn't been having very many explosive plays offensively. That always creates a problem 100% of the time when you play a good team defensively. And Cal's a good defensive team. And you know what Cal didn't do today? Cal didn't turn the football over. And when Cal doesn't turn the football over, they're kind of tough to beat. And Jake Browning, it's just something about him. Like, he's not special. Like, he's a solid quarterback, but he's not a guy you can put the game on his back, let him go throw it 40, 50 times a game, and he'll win the game for you. Like, he's just not that guy. That's not a knock on him. It's just the facts. The truth is the truth. And now you got Cal sitting at 5-3. Wouldn't that be something if Justin Wilcox gets this team to a bowl game this year? Wow. And I consistently say the Pac-12 North is the most difficult conference, the most difficult division in all of college football. You guys are watching the Unafraid Show. George Reister here, former NFL player, former Oregon Duck, Jacksonville Jaguars. I've written everywhere. Visit unafraidshow.com and share with a friend. So I called the Washington Cal upset. A game that I did not call was Oregon State and Colorado. Listen, I have no explanation for this game. I mean, how in the hell, if you are Colorado, do you let Oregon State beat you? They are the worst in the Pac-12 against the run, against the pass, against everything. And you let them score, and they're terrible passing the ball, and you let them score 41 points. Oh, that's atrocious. I know most people didn't watch that game, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on it. Arizona State and USC, another game I called today. I was on top of things in the Pac-12 today. Got to pat myself on the back, except for the last game I'm going to get to. Woo! Arizona State and USC. USC's down to their third-string quarterback, Jack Sears. He played okay. He threw for a couple touchdowns. He threw for a couple touchdowns, but USC, everybody's hurt. Like, quarterbacks win football games. And if your third quarterback is in the game, you're probably not going to win games. You're probably not. Unless you're Ohio State in the national championship, when you got Cardale Jones and he's a decent quarterback, and then you also got one of the top-notch defense, and you got Ezekiel Elliott. Then you might be able to do it. But typically, nope. Your defense got to be stout. And now USC sitting at 4-4. And Clay Helton's seat, I've been telling you guys for weeks and weeks, Clay Helton's seat, his hot seat is steamy, boy. And you got people, I saw Ryan Abraham, who's from, I think, USCfootball.com. He had the funniest tweet I had seen. He said, USC is going to need to take a long, hard look at the film today. I was like, what? A long, hard look? That's not going to help. They've been trying to take a long, hard look at the film for a minute. They're just not very good. And it's amazing how you can have all these recruits, all these 5-star recruits, and you can't win football games. That'll get you fired. That's why the Unafraid Show coaching test will be fired this week. Somebody said Jack Del Rio is available for USC. I got no comment on Jack Del Rio right now. I played for Jack Del Rio, seen what he's been able to do. I don't think he's going to work in college. I just don't. You guys are watching the Unafraid Show. Make sure you swipe up, share the feed, tell a friend about the Unafraid Show, and send in your questions, comments, all of that. We're almost through the Pac-12 right now. Utah and UCLA, we knew what the hell was going to happen this week. We knew what was going to happen this week. And it did happen. Utah scored another 40 points for the fourth time in a row. I don't know what the hell is going on. But they're doing pretty well. But next week, Utah next week, they get Arizona State. At Arizona State. Could be a trap game, but Arizona State doesn't score very many points against good defenses. So I like Utah in that game already. I can let you know that ahead of time. But now we're going to get to the game that I know a lot of you want to tune in and talk about. The Oregon versus Arizona. First of all, just to even okay. Let me see where to start with this. Because this is you guys send this out to all the Duck fans who will want to hear this, because the time has come for the Oregon update emergency meeting that we have to have right now. Because when you look at Oregon's since the Stanford game, Oregon was explosive in the Stanford game. They were taking chances. They were doing vertical things. The offense was popping, was completely popping. And then you run into Cal. Offense kind of, truth be told, the offense kind of struggled a little bit against Cal. And then you had Washington. Little bit. Then Washington State. Here is the problem, is that you come out against Washington State, and then can't hate on Washington State, because Washington State is, in terms of pass defense, they came into last week's game number 2 in the conference, and then in total defense, they were number 2 in the conference as well. So they have a good defense. But the problem is that you get punched in the mouth. You are Oregon. You get punched in the mouth by Washington State in the first couple drives, and you don't make any adjustments. And okay, cool. First big road game, all of that. You get your jitters, and then you come out in the second half, and you're running the ball up and down the field. You're throwing it around, and you would think, okay, the Ducks, they found something out, and they were able to capitalize on it. Okay, rough game. You started too late. All right, we will give you that one. But then to go down to Arizona, where Arizona is coming into this game, was the number 11 pass defense in the entire conference. Number 11. I'm sorry, number 9 against the pass and number 11 against the run. They had played 7 games. So this was not some anomaly after like 2 or 3 games where a team was ranked low, they had a bad game. Really think about that. Arizona, who had been giving up, they gave up 31 points to like Southern Utah. Everybody's been scoring against Arizona. Everybody has been scoring against Arizona. And the Ducks are only able to put up 15 points? Why is that? First of all, you do have to give some credit to Justin Herbert. He was off target today. He missed a bunch of passes, wide open guys. So you do have to give him credit there. The offensive line deserves some credit. Offensive line definitely deserve some credit because on the run plays, you got defensive linemen tackling the running backs, getting in the backfield, free runners, quarterback getting hit too much. So the offensive line deserves some credit. And then the play calling. Like, I have to be honest. Like, I like Coach Arroyo. He had done a good job throughout the season. The last 2 games haven't been good. That doesn't mean that he won't get it fixed, but you got to call a spade a spade. The last 2 games weren't good. Scheme-wise, because Arizona, who is a terrible Pac-12 defense, knew exactly what was coming all the time. And that's got to be a concern. That either means you're too predictable, somebody has either stole your playbook, or something is up. Because when you get to a point where the other teams are just honing in on everything that you're doing, and you're not even getting first downs, that is the problem. Somebody just said, what is the best college football team in California? Fresno State. I might agree with that. Right now. UCLA's not playing great. Oh, wait, no. I'll give it to Cal. Cal is the best team in California right now. So you got offensive line didn't play well. Herbert was off target. And then you had Coach Arroyo. Got to figure out a way to scheme guys open. Because there's a difference. Let me explain to you guys the difference between college football and pro football. Pro football, you work matchups. Like, you try to get your best guys on their best guys to win, like best guy on best guy. In college, you do that a little bit, but more so often, you scheme guys open. You scheme them open. That's why you see so many free runners in college. That's why you see guys wide open, wheel routes, all this stuff. It's because of the play calling, you scheming them open. Somebody said it was Oregon coming out flat second week in a row combined with Arizona's defense. Listen, I can't give Arizona's defense a lot of credit. I cannot. They've proven who they are. They're the second worst defense in the entire Pac-12 through 7 games. That means that Oregon's offense was bad. Because here's what I know my entire history of football and sports has taught me. You are who you are. So, Arizona can play good defense for like a half, for a quarter, for a couple drives or a couple series. But bad defenses eventually revert to what they are. Bad defenses. They cannot sustain good play. And if you are a top-notch offensive team like the stats say Oregon is, if you have poor offensive performances, it's more about you than it is about the other team. Yeah, the other team starts to build momentum, then that kind of trickles into it. But yeah, I am. A lot of people have questions about the pistol offense. Here's what I know about the pistol offense. Pistol offense works. Pistol offense does work. And the good thing about it is that you don't have to, is that the best thing about it is that you don't run sideways. Like you get downhill. But the problem is that the offensive line is not getting enough push. And also, so there's essentially a wall being built. So there's zone scheme. So everybody's blocking the same direction. And ideally, what you want is people on different levels. The defensive players on different levels. Because now the backs can make cuts and it's very difficult to defend. But when everybody's on the same level, it builds a wall. And it is difficult for your backs to find lanes. And the fact that Oregon has not been able to run the football, like there's so many, it concerned me a couple weeks ago against Washington, but I chalked it up because Washington's such a good defensive team, is that when you have people breaking through your line and making tackles for loss, it's not a good sign. So I know that Sewell being lost hurts, but that's no excuse. Like you can't make excuses for what happened today. And I do think that Herbert got locked in a little bit to, as he has the last couple weeks, to Dylan Mitchell. Dylan Mitchell's good. I like him a lot. He's an NFL wide receiver. However, the other guys on the team are going to sleep a little bit. And Herbert is defaulting to there. And today, if you guys get a chance to replay the game at all, Herbert's eyes are locked in. Like he's not affecting the defense with his eyes as much as he usually is. He's usually I'll explain it. The quarterbacks always have to not only just throw the ball to look at the receiver they're throwing to, but a lot of times they have to look off the safety, linebackers, all that, the way they move out of the way then they can come back to the read that they want. And Herbert didn't do a good job of that today. I like Herbert, but the question is Herbert going to stay? I don't know if Herbert is going to stay. I still think he's a top NFL quarterback. But today was horrendous. Like, it wasn't even bad. It was horrendous. There's no other way to put it. There is no other way to put how bad Herbert was today and the Oregon offense. I've said it before. This was one of the more embarrassing losses in Oregon. I would equate this loss today with the 70-point game against Washington. Would anybody agree with me there? Which game do you think was worse, more embarrassing? The 70 points against Washington, or you go down to Arizona and you just get your ass whooped? Like, there's no other way to say it. They got their ass whooped. This is gut check time coming up next week for Oregon. 100% gut check time. Because you have to find, this is gut check time for the players. This is gut check time for the coaches. This is gut check time for everybody in the building. Everybody. Everybody has to show up. Because They get UCLA coming up to Eugene next week. I will be in town, FYI. So I need some good places to eat. Whoever's tailgating on Saturday, I will be in town. I will be in Eugene. So holla at me. You guys know I'm one of the most easiest people in the media to get a hold of. I put an email out for you guys to hit me. I'm mad at unafraidshow.com. You got my Twitter. I respond to everybody. Make sure that you hit me up. Oh, does anybody else have any questions about the Oregon game? Whether you're watching on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, wherever. If you have any questions, send them in. I will get to them. Jim Beast on YouTube said that tonight is worse. I would definitely agree that today may be worse. May be worse. Someone said if they lose to UCLA, will Coach Arroyo, the offensive coordinator, be fired? I don't think that Coach Arroyo is going to be fired for a couple reasons. First of all, he may be demoted from play calling, but he won't be fired. Number one, he's an excellent recruiter. Number two, he's a good quarterback coach. But that doesn't mean that GA, yeah, I see you. Was Verdale 100%? Wow. I can't tell you what Oregon was doing with their backs today, but it didn't matter who was back there. Troy Dye, Verdale, Tony Brooks James, it didn't matter. They could not run the football. It was embarrassing. Somebody brought up a good point because I asked which loss was worse. This Brett G25. I asked which loss was worse, and somebody pointed out. They said that I said the 70-point loss to Washington or tonight's loss, and I remembered after I saw this comment which loss was worse. It was neither one of those. The worst loss was following the Washington 70-point, was getting absolutely demolished by Utah, and then that fake punt. I'm sorry, that trick punt return that they returned to the house where they faked the whole team out and embarrassed them. Yep, that was worse. I think that was by far the worst. We check Facebook. Any more questions? So you guys, the top 10 will be out. I'll go over the top 10 again super quick in case you missed it. The top 10 for the entire country. And there is one Pac-12 team still left. Do I think Washington State can make the playoff? Yes, I do. Number 1 is Clemson. Number 2, Alabama. Why is Clemson number 1? Because they played a better schedule and they are just as dominant as Alabama is right now. Number 2, Alabama. Number 3, Notre Dame. Number 4, LSU. Number 5, Oklahoma. 6, Michigan. 7, Georgia. 8, Central Florida. 9, Washington State. And 10, Ohio State. That's how the top 10 shakes out. That is how the top 10 shakes out. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to be crazy. Eric Baker, he said, I feel like Herbert's confidence level is down. He's just not as sharp as he would be. I will tell you this. If you look at Justin Herbert, you can always tell how the game is going if you look at his eyes. When the camera zoom into his eyes, there's a certain look when things are clicking and things are sharp. And then there's a certain look when things aren't going well. Jim Beast asks, what about all the open receivers tonight? What were the DBs doing? First of all, the open receivers for Arizona, if you really look at the defense in the first half through the beginning of the third quarter, the defense actually played really well. The offense was just putting them in horrendous positions. The offense was putting them in, they had the ball inside the 15 like 4 times in the first half. Came out with 16 points. And then they scored right before halftime. When your offense doesn't play well, when they don't get first downs, they are always your defense is always going to be stressed because they cannot just continuously stop everything. Like the offensive play callers get it in, defense gets tired, and then eventually the dam breaks. And that's what happened today with the defense. The dam broke. The DBs, they played okay today. Especially Lenore. I like him. Graham had a pick, even though the guy was wide open. But Khalil Tate's not a good passing quarterback. Steven asked, hey, George, who do you think is going to make it into the Pac-12 championship? Right now, I got to go with Washington State. They clearly look good. I don't think that Washington can score enough points to beat Washington State. And I don't think that Washington's defense is good enough to stop Washington State's pass offense. Because when you look at Washington's pass defense is one of the better in the conference. They're giving up less than 200 yards a game. Their total defense is only at about 308 coming into the game. But you know what? Washington State's averaging over 400 yards a game passing the ball. Somebody asked outside the games, concerned about that offensive line of Oregon, no more injuries. Of course I have to be concerned. It was awful. The way they played, the way they mauled Stanford offensively up front, and the way that they look today and last week against Washington State, it doesn't even look like the same team. Doesn't even look like the same team. And so, yes, that is definitely concerning. Do you think Oregon will finish with a top 10 recruiting class? That's a legit question. That is a very legit question. So you have guys like Thibodeau and all of that who came to the Washington game, were so excited. And then the last 2 weeks, got to throw a little bit of a wet blanket on there. Because you get a guy like Willie Taggart down at Florida State recruiting some of these kids, or you get other schools recruiting these kids, or Alabama or some of these other kids that you're in the mix for, these 5-star kids. And they're going to be sitting there saying, I don't know what's going on up there right out now. I don't know. If I'm a 2019 recruit, yeah, I'm wondering, I'm sitting back now like, hold up. There's always two ways that recruits can look at when a team plays poorly. They can either look at it like, wait, hold up, I'm a 2019 recruit. They're not playing all that well. Guess who can go in there and start? This guy. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to be the difference. So that's one school of thought. The other school of thought is, I don't know, man. I don't know what they got going on up there. I'm trying to win a national championship. I'm trying to get to the league. I'm trying to do this, trying to get the accolades, trying to play in the playoff. So can that happen? So yes, it could have a negative impact on the 2019 recruiting. That's why Oregon has to finish the season 9-3. There is no excuses. There are no ways about it. They have to finish 9-3 and then go play well. Well, actually, yeah. They don't have to play necessarily well in the ball game because the signing period will pretty much be done at that point in time, the early signing period. Somebody said the weather might be nice in Florida, but the coach in Florida, man, is in Florida. You always have to be afraid of Florida, man, because you guys, thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate all you guys. I'll get to Steven's question and then I'll bail out if nobody else has any more questions. He said, what did I think about the USC game? USC was kind of what I expected them to be today. They were playing with their third string quarterback. Porter Gustin's done for the season. Caleb Smith, their linebackers, out. Having trouble running the football. Like, their wide receivers are the best thing that they got going. They got all these 5-star recruits. They have a coach problem. I never want to call for a coach to be fired, but you got to look at reality. Clay Helton's not getting it done at USC. But the question is, who would be knocking down the door to go coach at USC? I mean, really think about this. You have Willie Taggart leave Oregon to go to Florida State. A long time ago, you had Lane Kiffin leave Tennessee to go to USC. You've had Scott Frost leave Central Florida to go to Nebraska. Other coaches leave from all over the place. But how many coaches would be willing to leave where they are to go to USC at this point in time? That's a legit question, right? They're still getting top 5 recruits. But the question is, are they still a top 5 destination for coaches? That I don't see at this point in time. You guys, thank you guys for joining me. Unafraid Show, George Reister here. You guys, the top 10 will be up by the time you go to sleep and you wake yourself up in the morning, because I'll be up all night finishing, making it great for you guys. Making the top 10 great. Not great again, but just great. Appreciate you guys. You guys make sure you tell a friend about the Unafraid Show. Go to unafraidshow.com, view the articles, share them, tell a friend about the Unafraid Show. And if you missed any of this, go back, rewatch it, download the podcast, all of that. Go get your Unafraid Show gear. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Peace out. Catch you guys Monday.